There's a difference between watching a movie with your kid and being on your phone and watching it with them. That connection is created when you're actually doing the same thing rather than, oh, I'm here with you, I'm present, but not connecting.
I was just thinking about Thanksgiving last year. We're going to Florida off of 30A, Rosemary Beach.
So fun. It's beautiful.
Alley's Beach and up around Destin. And
no, we had a couple days it was beautiful on the beach.
Yeah.
And then a couple days it was freezing. But it was so beautiful.
Yeah, it's super pretty up there. The sand is amazing. And,
oh, the sand is perfect.
But yeah, that was a trip that was memories and
yeah, it's just fun. Like I think that's the other thing too, is we've tried to shake it up a little bit because of some family things and dynamics. Our kids have really enjoyed it. We personally have taken our little family and done some really fun trips around the holidays, and they become really memorable. There's a lot of memories that are made.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important because from day in to day out, I think what happens is when you get into rhythms in your life, you don't remember. Like there's sometimes like stories that will come up. I'm like, I don't remember that. And it was just an ordinary day and something happened and you remembered it or the kids remembered it. But when you go on trips, like those become ingrained because now not only is it something that happened, but you can remember a place because it's different. Like those memories, they just kind of hit a little differently. Summer was always special to me because I finally, like I could have my kids without like the duress of like routines and morning routines, night routines, homework, all of that. And those are some of the best memories. But I did notice like the more that I have found, I put down my stuff and be in the moment. It's really hard. Phones are hard. But phones really, we may think, oh, everybody's enjoying themselves. But if we're not careful, it does take away from the fun that they're really having. All right, baby. Do you want to introduce Designly Done today?
We're going to talk about party hard and play harder.
Having fun.
Yes.
It's like in that television show, Cat in the Hat. Fun, fun, fun. We're going to talk about having fun. And that movie is fun. Have you seen that movie?
The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers.
Yeah, it's wild.
Dirty hoe.
So it's your favorite line in the whole thing. Exactly. I love you, baby. I love you. I didn't mean to call you that. I think that it's so important to have fun. And I think that that's something that I like. You and I kind of have type A personalities. And I think we're very goal oriented and driven. And I do think that you and I also like to have a lot of fun, but we can get off balance there. Yeah. I think there have been periods in our life where we get off balance, and especially when life has gotten hard with certain things, like we forgot to have some fun. So we had to put this back into our life, and we had to work really hard to kind of like nurture that and to feed that. So let's talk about that today. Let's unpack that a little bit, and let's talk about why this matters, especially in a family, and why it's important to have fun.
Keep balanced.
Yeah. Like I think in anything, like I think in one of our previous episodes, we mentioned like life is kind of like watering fields if you're a farmer. And if you neglect one of the fields, that's not good. You want all your fields to be flourishing. And I think that this is one of those fields that we've had to be a little more intentional, specifically me. I think you've always been able to disconnect and like go enjoy yourself in nature. For me, I have the tendency to run a lot of like anxiety patterns and worrying constantly about everything.
Yeah.
So it's something that I think I've had to do a little more of. I've had to work harder at. But we've had a lot of fun with our kids. I think we've created a lot of fun memories.
True.
So let's talk about that. Play, having fun. What do you think it does for your family? What does it do for us? What does it do for you?
I think first and foremost, it helps you so that you don't hit burnout.
Right.
There's been weeks where it's like you just get to the point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore,
Yeah.
And then you're like, what's the point? Or, you start to have these racing thoughts or anxiety or whatever. And,
yeah.
And when you get in that bad place, you just need to step aside and go and reset.
Have fun. Go do something. I think for us, it's just having something to connect on. We've talked in previous episodes about like talking to our kids and talking about emotions and feelings, but there's got to be a balance to everything. There's got to be a balance to their extracurricular activities, their school, our work, and that's in fun. That's in finding times to connect with our family. Mm-hmm. And I think that connection is not in one way. It's multifaceted, and it's done daily. It's done, annually. Like there's certain things you can do consistently, and there's other things that you have to like put on the calendar, right? So let's talk about that. What are some of the things you've been really a fun dad? Like you're like the fun dad because you're like the dad that's kind of like the jack of all trades. You've kind of done it all. And so you've really introduced our kids to some things that are fun. So talk
Mhm.
about that. Talk about some of the things that you do intentionally with our kids. And I actually think it's really like, it's actually sexy. No, it is. Like, I think it's like very like to me, I'm like, that's so appealing. And I think that it's one of the things that when I watch you with our kids doing these things, I'm like, that's hot. Like, that's just like, and not only that, it's giving our kids, um, it's exposing them to things that's even giving them skills that they can use in connection with other people.
Yeah. I think I started our kids skiing when they were younger.
Mhm. I'm a terrible skier.
Yeah,
Terrible.
that didn't work.
No.
And so it was spending time with them when we would go to Utah around the holidays, and instead of just, a lot of times just in the wintertime and growing up in Utah, it was like if you didn't do something outside like skiing or snowmobiling or snowshoeing or any of those types of things, it was a really long winter. And
Yeah.
so just exposing our kids early on to skiing, and Caitlin and Kelson, they liked to do it, and Landry not so much, and
Yeah.
I don't
Which is
think,
okay because I
yeah,
don't love to ski. So that's just kind of,
yeah,
she
it's
got that
just,
from me.
and we'll see, now that she's getting older, we'll see if she wants to try it, more.
Yeah.
And with her, I think it was mostly she just didn't like to be cold,
Yeah.
and I think that she was in some lessons there when she was younger, and I think that she
She didn't
liked
enjoy
it, but
it.
she just didn't enjoy
She
being
got some
cold.
great cow jokes. Remember that her instructor liked to tell her jokes?
Oh yeah.
Like, where do the
About
cows like to eat? The cafeteria.
Yeah. So, I mean, she picked up a lot of like dad jokes from her instructor and stuff like that, but she just didn't really like it that much. And then, fly fishing, I really liked that when I was younger. When we first met, I was fly fishing quite a bit.
Yeah,
and
you were. You were even tying your own flies.
Yeah,
And had your own setup, and you showed me how to do that.
And so, and just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I took Caitlin fly fishing on the Provo River.
You took me a couple weeks before that.
Yeah, and then I took you, and then Kelson's been quite a few times. And
he loves it. He's just like you. It's in his blood.
Yeah, he loves it. And so it's something different, that they'll be able to do for the rest of their lives. And that's something that unless somebody teaches you how to do it, you're not just going to go, out
For sure.
and do it. Usually the only way that you get into something like that is if somebody a friend of yours will take you with them and kind of show you how to do it or take you out. So
Right. So you've done skiing, you've done fly fishing, you've done rock climbing with Kelson.
Yeah,
you've done that.
Rock climbing. I did quite a bit of that before we were married.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember when we first got married? You had so many ropes, and is it called carabiners?
Mm-hmm.
Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm impressed. And I remember we got married and you sold a bunch of it because you're like, you knew like the risk of that.
Yeah. And
not that mountain biking I feel is any safer, but
yeah, I mean, it was just sitting around and we weren't using it as much. And so, but yeah, that and mountain biking is another one where you can get out, and I have to get out and do something. And that was one of the things where when we were living in Arizona, it was like I was having a hard time with there's nothing to do here outside, and that was really something where it's like you can get out real fast within 35 minutes of our house in Queen Creek, which is
still dangerous, but I still hate it, but you love it. But no, I think that your kids, like for Caitlin, I think that like it's fun being able to see that she enjoys skiing. She's not like the fastest ski bunny, but she likes it. She'll just slowly carve herself down that mountain. And Kelson, you and Kelson are just like these little demons on the slopes. Like you guys just go like mock speeds, but it's fun. Like, and I love the connection you have there with those moments you've created with those kids, doing that with them. And then Landry and I, we go do our own thing.
Yeah,
we go find our own things to do. But I really feel like you as a father early on started doing those things with your kids. Like you started taking an interest in those things, or even you would be out I remember when our kids were younger, you were really into golf and you would go out. We had a retention right across from us and you would golf while the kids would be on the slides or they would be riding their little electric car.
Yeah.
But we've always find moments to disconnect and go be as a family. Wouldn't you say that's truth?
Yeah, it's true.
And I think that, when you're younger and you're first married, there's not a whole lot of money to invest in big things. So we found ways to do that in smaller ways. I think it was getting outside. It was taking them swimming. It was taking them to different places. But we've always done a good job, I think, about exploring. Like we go places and explore. So we took our kids when they were younger to Utah a lot. And we would always find, like, if anybody wants to know what to do in Utah, we have the answers because we've done probably everything.
That's true for sure.
Wouldn't you say? We've done it all. But then we started doing things like as they grew older and we knew that we could invest a little more money and it would be a little more appreciated. We would do things like trips to Wyoming, Yellowstone, or we would spend a little more time out in California. We started doing Disneyland a little more because they were older and they would appreciate it more.
Yeah.
But I think we've done a really good job. I would say the one area of like, especially my life that was a little difficult is as I got into having health issues, my health tanked and when we were going through some really hard things, it was the day-to-day that I felt like I kind of disconnected a little bit from my kids. I was so into my head and so into my hardships and what I was going through and even going on trips, I felt a little bit more removed. And I remember one day I had somebody over helping me. I was paying her the time to help me and she and I were doing some things and the kids started to get really frustrated and they kept wanting things. And she finally said to me, "Hey, Ashley," she's like, "I think we need to play with your kids." She goes, "We need to like play a game of hide and go seek with your kids." And I remember like looking at her like, are you an alien? Like, this is so like, what? That is weird. And I remember my kids weren't very old. I would say that Landry was probably 3. And so that means that Caitlin was about 10. Kelson was about 7. So they're at very active ages. And I was like, okay, might as well try it. And we played a 30-minute game of hide and go seek with the kids. And I could not believe the difference in my kids after that. They were settled. They were happy. They were able to then go do the things that they needed to because they felt seen and they felt played with. Like it was fun. Mom created fun rather than that energy. So if you think about it, going back to what you opened up with, like it's easy to get out of balance and you start to have anxiety and you start to feel stress. Our kids can feel that too. And if we are always living in that, then our kids are going to pattern their lives that same way and they're not going to know how to put the balance in. So we're setting a tone and an example for them in taking time to pull away and separate and play and enjoy life. Doesn't mean that we do it all the time. It doesn't mean that we become lazy. It means that we're intentional in the time that we take to care for ourselves and nurture ourselves and take care of our family and connect and have fun. So talk to me about some of the ways you've seen us do that as our kids have gotten older. It's become a little harder because the older kids are in and out more. They have cars, so they come and go. But we're still finding ways to connect. So let's talk about some ways that we've done that in recent years as our kids have been in high school. And it gets a little harder to connect with teenagers. They've kind of got their own stuff going on. They've got their friends and their buddies.
Yeah, I think Caitlin's senior year, Kelson's senior year, they were getting home before lunch. And so we ended up.
Or about lunchtime. They were getting home. They only had half days because they got all these extra credits through summer school.
So we would get them to go to lunch with us a few times.
Yeah, like 3 times at least
3 times a week. Yeah. Trying to spend time with them.
We even pull them out of school for lunch. We do that with Landry all the time.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate we can do that because we work together.
That's true.
But even still, it's cute because there have been times where I've been busy and you'll go pull one of them out or you'll go take them to lunch.
Yeah, I think that was probably something that my grandpa did. That's probably where that came from, where he loved to go to dinner. And it was like
to feed.
Oh yeah.
He loved to feed us. I remember that.
He was like wanting, even when my cousins, they grew up in the East Coast and they were out in Utah for school, and he would take them to dinner with us. And it was like, that was his love language, you know. It was like, hey, I want to go take everybody out to dinner and spend time as a family, and so that my grandma wouldn't have to cook, and then everybody was together. So I think that that's probably where that came from.
And I think too, like, we've always done that, because if you think about it, looking back in the past, I think that like our habits have changed a little more. We can afford to do nicer things and eat a little nicer. Even still, we're conscious about what we're doing as far as eating out. But there's things you can do, like ordering a pizza and going to the park.
Yeah.
There's things like Chick-fil-A is really not that expensive if you order the 30 count.
Yeah.
Like, there's things you can do to take your kids out. We did some Taco Bell when the kids were younger. And we try to find ways to go out, maybe definitely not on the same budget we have now.
Yeah.
But we were always mindful of that.
Well, yeah. There's an acquaintance friend that I ride with, and she's done a phenomenal job. You know, I'm mostly riding with her son, but I mean, she's phenomenal and she homeschools her kids. And so she's got her kids all the time, and she doesn't spend a ton of money, you know, doing that type of thing, but it's like she's hiking to the wind caves, or she's hiking this place, or she's, you know, taking her kids camping, or she's cost effective. Yeah. And she's
absolutely,
and she's like bringing food in the cooler with her, and they're like up hiking this trail, or they're out South Mountain, Phoenix, like hiking this, or doing some, you know, all these different things. And so I think it's intentional. So it's not the money, it's the intent. There's all
you
sorts
can always
of
find
places.
something. I also know that like there's these books you can buy. I know they have them here in Arizona, but like it's filled with coupons, or like, so you spend like $70 or $80, like for an adult, this was what it used to cost. And then for the kids, it was like $45, $50. But then you could like get a free, you know, 1 free day trip to the Phoenix Zoo.
Yeah.
And then you could do like 1 day at Sunsplash. And there's always things you can do to be intentional. But it's really about being mindful and asking around, maybe watching other people who you're like, wow, they do a really good job with their kids, getting ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the things that you love to do is play Uno. I love to play it too, but you especially, you are so good about playing Uno with our kids. I mean, I think we have like, what's the new one you have? Like Super Uno? What is that called? Uno Attack or no?
No, it's like,
what is it?
I don't know. It's
where like you draw.
Ruthless came to my mind.
Ruthless Uno.
Ruthless
like
Uno.
Draw tens. It's got draw
it's like
tens
got all these like crazy things in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of the game going like 5 minutes, it goes like 20 minutes because you're drawing so many cards and stuff like that.
But like playing games with your kids. So if it's an issue of money, if you're saying it's an issue of money, it's not an issue of money.
No.
It's an issue of you using that as an excuse and not being creative. You just have to be intentional,
you know, and just like figure out different things.
Like when your kids are younger, it's playing a game of memory. It's coloring. I mean, you can make homemade Play-Doh. You can buy Play-Doh. It's cheap, and you can play Play-Doh with your kids. Like there is always something to do to be connecting with your kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Reading, going to the libraries. And I think I've done a really good job of that. I just feel like there was a time in my life where I was so in my mind and in my head and so much anxiety, I forgot. But I was still, it's even just going out with the kids into the front yard, putting the sprinklers on and letting them run through the yard. I remember some of these things would drive you crazy. Sometimes I would let the kids do things that were so messy, and you'd be like, "What are you, Ash?" And I'd be like, "They're little. Let them have fun and let them be messy." Those are some of my favorite memories as a kid, is when I would make a mess. And I think, but it's being in the moment with your kids and letting people have fun. Like everybody needs to know how to have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to take life way too seriously, and
you're
not going to have a whole lot of fun. So in our marriage, I think that one of the things that's happening in the world today with couples, I'm seeing a lot of men cheat on wives. I am seeing it left and right. And I am seeing a lot of contention in marriages. And one of the things I learned earlier on is that if I'm not having fun with you, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember recognizing that when I would intentionally go do things and have fun with you, then when we would go to the serious things that we needed to focus on, whether it was my health or something with work or something with something with a child, you were more engaged in working on that with me because we're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can get so caught up in what we're doing that sometimes we forget to have fun. Or if we are disconnecting in a place that we're having fun, I know that I would start disconnecting, and instead of having fun with my husband, like you or the kids, I would go call a girlfriend and go enjoy my time with her. Not that I'm saying that that's wrong, but I was giving all my attention to girlfriends rather than to you or to the kids. And I think that learning to play within a family is far more important. Not that I'm saying or discrediting friendships. Those are important too. But you got to make sure to keep that in balance. Am I having fun with my husband? Am I having fun with my kids? And a husband and wife, I think we have to have that level of, intimacy and fun. And it's so important to have. So let's talk about that. Like, what are some ways, because we don't have the same interests. I don't mountain bike. We've tried that. We've tried that and skiing, and we know that
those two are disasters.
I stink at those. I mean, I'm skiing. I'm literally on my back.
Yeah,
on
you're
the ground,
sliding down the mountain
skis,
backwards.
I'm terrible. I told you that.
Yeah.
And so, what does that look like for us? How have we learned to have fun?
I think that you just have to find similar interests that you like to do together and meet in the middle. And if that means, I think a good example of that would be like, you knew that I like mountain biking and that Kelson did. And so for Thanksgiving one year, you booked a trip to Bentonville, Arkansas.
That was sweet of me, huh?
Yeah, that was so nice. And
because you'd always wanted to go to Bentonville.
Yeah, and for most people who don't know about Bentonville, they're like, "Why Bentonville?"
Arkansas. It's like the Mecca, Walmart Mecca. That's where Walmart
came
out
Walmart is based there, but the Walton grandsons took like millions of dollars and dropped it into the infrastructure around Bentonville and built this like mega like mountain bike like
park
destination. And so it's just turned into like all these trail systems for mountain bikes. And so one year we went to Bentonville, and none of us had been there, and we got a VRBO, and just Kelson and I went and rode bikes, and then we had Thanksgiving dinner, and then just kind of checked out Bentonville and the old, city part of it, and walked around the shops and went to the mall. And so I think there was something. We
even stalked the Duggar family. Remember how we found the Duggars? If anybody knows that, like 20 kids and counting, 19 kids and counting.
Yeah, 19 kids and counting.
Caitlin found their house. She stalked them. And
so we're out like stalking the Duggars on like
But it was fun because we went and drove out and we saw some beautiful homes.
Yeah.
And so you and I love that. That's a common interest. You got to mountain bike with Kelson. We went and saw the Duggar compound like Caitlin wanted to see.
Yeah.
We went to some fun stores and malls. The girls wanted to do that. And we had a really good time.
Yeah.
We found commonality for everybody and fun for everyone.
Yeah. And I think everybody enjoyed it, or we've gone to like Solitude, Utah and stayed up there.
Yeah. You and the kids like to ski.
Which is a ski in, ski out, condo complex. Yeah. And so it was fun for us to be able to.
I was a little bored. But for me, it was just about I needed a rest.
Yeah.
After going for Christmas, that was a stressful year. It was so nice just to enjoy the snow, and then you guys would come in for lunch. Could enjoy lunch with you guys, send you back out. I got to nap a lot. It was good.
Yeah, no, it was nice.
It was good. Something for everybody.
Yeah.
Hot tubbing at night. It was fun.
Yeah, and we did that in Park City as well with friends. And so
I see a lot of families doing, and this is like, I see a lot of families who have fun. I also know families that don't. And my heart hurts for them because I'm like, ugh, like you're doing yourself a disservice because you want to create fun and you want your kids to come back too.
Yeah.
You want them to be like, hey, mom and dad are fun.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii, we've spent a lot of time in Hawaii and Kauai.
That's kind of the best of everything. Relaxation plus excursions. And what's cool about Hawaii is there's so many different excursions. Every time we go back, we do something different.
Yeah, that's true.
Has there ever been anything that we've done? Maybe the catamaran on Kauai, we've done a little more because it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
But normally we always try to find something different to do.
Yeah, we've found different things. There's all sorts of excursions in Kauai that we've done. And we've always gone back to the Marriott in Kauai because the kids like it.
We tried Maui. We don't love Maui. We need to do Oahu. We've never done Oahu with the kids.
Yeah,
I've done the Big Island. I didn't love it. So
yeah, that would be a good one to try. So,
but we love that, and the kids love it. One of the things. So this is kind of going into travel naturally, but Disneyland is a big one. Kelson loves Disneyland.
Yeah,
our girls love it, and we were really fortunate that we got to go like COVID era. and a little after, before the crowds picked back up.
Yeah.
The last time I went, it was crazy. It was really crazy when we went. And I just kind of felt like,
I think the last time we were there was like around Easter and it rained though, right?
It was raining a lot.
Yeah.
But it was kind of miserable. But it was raining and crowded. But we still had fun. It was still good. But this year we did something different. And this was you and I had to do a little bit of bartering to get this, to get here. But it was something that I have always wanted to do. And I just felt like our kids were at that age. I'm like, it's time. We got to do it now. I wanted to do it for Kelson's mission because you don't know. Caitlin may or may not be married, or she could be dating, and it just changes all the family dynamics. And so we bartered, and you agreed, and it didn't take much bartering because Justin really got something he wanted out of this, a new bike. Anyways, we took the kids to Europe. And I'd always wanted to do Europe. I was excited to do Europe. And I think that to do Europe, it's a big trip, and I knew it would be. So do you want to talk a little bit about where we went and just kind of what we did and a little bit about what we saw?
Yeah, we went to Italy. That was the first time that you and I had been to Italy. So we went to Rome and was able to see the Vatican, and
loved that.
And we took my mom with us, and that was fun. And then went and saw Pompeii, and then after spending a few days in Rome and all the Forum and the Colosseum and all the different
cool
places,
things,
and all the food and the gelato and all that kind of stuff, and then went to Florence and
quick stop in Florence.
Yeah, overnight in Florence, and then went to Venice.
Quick stop in Venice,
and then flew over to England and went to London for a few days. And
not a few days.
We were in London a while. Yeah, we were there for when that fire happened at the Heathrow airport. We got stuck in
That was
London.
the day we were supposed to fly out.
Yeah, it happened the day we were supposed to leave.
And they pushed us off like 4 more days. So I think all in all, we were in London for like 8 or 9 days.
Yeah, we were there a while.
We were there for a long time. At that point, we were feeling a little like we were burned out by the end of that.
I think London was probably a good place for that to happen, though.
Oh, absolutely. But we took the kids, and I think that like, and I really encourage, I think you and I would both encourage families, once your kids get to late high school, your oldest kids do, if your youngest is not too young, it's really a good thing to take your kids. I feel like our kids got to see and experience a lot. And I felt like that was a really good trip to do for a couple reasons. One, there's a lot of moving parts to it. And I think it's good. Like when you go to Hawaii, there's moving parts, but not a lot of moving parts. When you go to Utah, there's some moving parts, but not a lot of moving parts. This was really good because I think as a family, we really got to come together, and we had to really work together to keep that train moving the whole time. And it was a really good, especially like we have talked about in a past episode with Kelson, we gave him a lot of responsibilities. And it was really fun. I think it's so good to see your kids in an environment like this. And remember, we took our kids to New York at the end of COVID, and it was the same thing. Like your kids get to gain almost an awareness of the world around them, and they have to draw upon street smarts and really watching and being a part of that culture and those people. And I think it's so good for them. I think it builds confidence, worth, awareness. I think it's such a good thing to take your kids on trips like that. Yeah,
I think that's true. Well, and probably one of the most beneficial things that comes from it is, and we mentioned this earlier, is that Kelson is leaving for 2 years.
On his mission.
Out of the country to South America to go to Bolivia. And I think us as parents feel more comfortable now that
for sure.
He's been to Chile last year for HXP Humanitarian, and then he's been to Italy, and he's been to
London.
England, and he's been to different countries where it's not the same as the United States. And
it gives them awareness. Well, and it's interesting because, and if Cindy, this is Justin's mom, if you're listening, this is not to put you down, but just to show the difference, like, because she not had those experiences, like it was very overwhelming to her. And you're putting her in a whole new thing, in a whole new world. Our kids had had some stepping stones with some experiences on trips with us, especially New York, where they were more prepared for it. But it's overwhelming. So it gives us a lot more peace of mind knowing, hey, Kelson got to go on this trip. And it was so fun.
Yeah.
But also you got something out of it. And I think for me as a mom, it allowed me to breathe and go, okay, he's going to be great. Cause he was a rock star on that trip. He like took over. You were really sick one day. And Kelson, we had to go out for dinner. We were in Venice and you had been super sick. And I was like, great, I got to go feed Cindy and my kids. And I was like, and I don't have Justin there. And I'm in a foreign country and I could do it, but it was at night.
Yeah.
And the streets in Venice get very, there's not a whole lot of people out anymore at night in Venice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little eerie. There's a lot of water. And so it was awesome because I took Kelson, and Kelson, he took charge. He picked dinner. He was watching us. He was even saying, hey, watch out for that, or hey, let's not go that way. And he was guiding us. And I was like, he's going to be awesome in a foreign country. This kid is smart. Yeah.
So I think the good thing about that is we taught him the principles, and then he could practice those principles.
He did on trips.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that cool? Like, you're having fun, but you're also learning and experiencing and becoming, I mean, it really does give you skills.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was awesome. So that was really fun.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, we're talking about trips that cost a lot of money, but I don't think it has to be like,
no.
It doesn't have to be like European trips or
it could be
Hawaiian
exploring
trips.
A new part of town, like taking him to downtown. Like for us, we live in Queen Creek, down to downtown Gilbert, taking Maddie down there and say, hey, can you look up, like, it's awesome because she can look up stuff on Google and Google Maps and go, Mom, let's try this and this and this. And you're teaching your kids awareness and how to create without fear.
Yeah. And that friend of mine that I was mentioning earlier, she's taken her family to Yosemite and like Colorado and northern Arizona, and they're tent camping. Yeah. And so I don't think it doesn't have to cost like a lot of money, to be able to like take your family to get into these situations that are out of their comfort zone and to, learn stuff. And
the cool part is like, again, they're learning while you're having fun. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I think also too, for us going on that trip, it was really fun for me to see our kids view things differently. So like, I think just seeing people on the streets, the taxi drivers, they're wild.
Yeah. Italy's nuts.
Like sometimes you get in those cabs and they've probably smoked 30 cigarettes before you've gotten in that car.
Yeah.
But then, and you're navigating without language barrier. We're using our Google translator to do all of that. But we're showing like using apps. Like it's just a really cool experience. But I think it's wild what they get to see and learn and view. But on top of that, it's really cool taking them to all the different sites. When we were in Rome, what do you feel like you were watching through their eyes and seeing through their eyes, them taking in the wonder?
The thought just came was for instance, Caitlin, she's 20, and because she's had this opportunity to go to these different locations, and back in 23, she went to Jerusalem, HXP study abroad, humanitarian, without mom and dad. And then she went to Europe with us. And then just recently she went to Europe again, in June, and was in the Netherlands and France and without mom and dad. And she was
with other families.
Yeah, she was with another family.
But we can confidently send her knowing
we're confident that she is comfortable with doing these trips, and they're not, you're out of your comfort zone. You're out of the United States, and people don't speak the language, and things are different, and so
even people's personalities and from country to country,
they're different personalities, especially from Italy to like
they're
the UK.
A lot warmer in Italy.
Yeah, it's different, and so
it's so cool. I also think too, it was really enjoyable for me to see our kids like going through the Colosseum, and that was as a family, I enjoyed that day going through the Colosseum and then going through the Forum and just watching the kids take in like, whoa, this stuff happens. Like, they've watched
Gladiator.
Have they watched The Gladiator? Not Gladiator 2. Has Kelson seen Gladiator 1?
Just the first one's been around forever.
Yeah, but like to see this and to like be like, wow, like to just kind of reconcile with the fact like these events actually happen, and this is where those things, not the Gladiator story that it's like true, but like the events, the history behind it took place there. And I think that has been really fun because a lot of our trips have always been about like Disneyland or Hawaii or California or they're just kind of those fun activities where this is actually, you're now embedding yourself in culture as well as history. And I thought that was really enjoyable. And I would encourage that for all families. It is more stressful, but it is really enjoyable, especially if you can. I feel like there was a couple days when we went from Florence to Venice. I wish I would have slowed that down and added a couple days in, because then we could have enjoyed it more and had a little more, it would have been more enjoyable.
Yeah. And I think I heard something, it was on Instagram. I want to say it was like Sylvester Stallone that might have made this comment, but he's like, I think you have to look at it like, okay, a trip's expensive, but you're investing your time or your money in memories.
Yeah.
And it is an investment. And when you get to the end of your life, that's probably the last thing you're going to say is, I wished I wouldn't have taken my family on that trip,
Yeah.
And so you're investing in time with your family and family relationships, and it does cost a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's like, where are your priorities, and if it's something that you can invest in, then I would say, yeah, that's definitely a good place to invest that money.
Totally. We have some really good friends. I'm thinking of a couple families, and they travel a lot. And they travel a lot with their kids, and they never, ever regret it. And I think some of the best stories come out of these trips, and it's some of the worst moments. So like, remember, okay, so for us, we were leaving, you had been sick the first night in Venice. The next day, we woke up the next morning.
Florence.
Well, you were sick in Florence.
Yeah.
Still not feeling great in Venice.
Yeah.
And the next morning, so that night, I had taken out the kids. Kelson had done all of his guiding. And the next morning, I woke up very sick. And so did Kelson. And we had to leave that day.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I did less than 24 hours in Venice. I am kicking myself because we should have been there for at least 3 days.
Yeah. And so on the way out of the hotel in Venice,
we taxied. We had a water taxi pick us up at our hotel.
Yeah. The water taxi picks you up right there at the door. And I thought I should grab some bags, like garbage bags.
And you did.
And I grabbed them. And so we're in a water taxi on the way over to Marco Polo Airport, which is across the water from Venice, to fly to London. And Kelson is just yakking his guts out. He starts
vomiting into this bag.
I grabbed the bags that I'd taken out of the airport or the hotel and handed them to him. And the poor kid's is green in the back of the boat.
And mind you, we're going through Venice. And it's beautiful. And the poor kid cannot focus on anything but how sick he is.
And Caitlin and Landry and my mom are all just like looking at the hotels and how pretty everything is. And here's poor Kelson just
kept going,
throwing up. And then when we get to the airport.
Okay, so we get to the airport.
Yeah.
And we have to get through our baggage. We have to get through all the things.
Yeah. And so we're sitting down there waiting for the flight, and he wants a Sprite. And then we get on the airplane and he just starts yakking again.
Oh, okay. We had sat down on the airplane, and remember the guy was giving his spiel like with the seatbelt and like the oxygen mask.
And Kelson's
he's literally 2 feet. He's like standing in the aisle in the row in front of us. And Kelson is just barfing profusely in a bag. And the guy just keeps going as Kelson's vomiting in the bag.
Yeah. And then he gets done, and then Kelson's trying to hand it to him, and he makes him stand up and
I had
walk
taken a Zofran, and I had given him a Zofran, and poor Kelson, that Zofran did not work.
No.
But like now we look back and we all laugh about that. Like we're like, it was so sad, and yet it's now so like memorable, right?
Well, yeah, there's like stuff that you like remember. And I think probably one of the biggest ones is the Airbnb that we stayed at. They charged us $175 for a loose toilet seat.
And we're like, we didn't loosen it. It was loose when we got there.
So, but I mean, that's one of those things that you like remember that, from a
like
trip.
Just great. Like, and that's the thing. It's about memories. Even the worst ones can become magical.
Yeah.
Don't you think? You're just like, oh my gosh, of course that happened.
Exactly.
It's so awesome. Okay. I feel like we've had a lot of storms in our life, a lot of hardships. A lot of trials, trauma, a lot of hurt.
Yeah. I think that that's just life. Everybody has different trials
Right.
and storms and
We need
whatever. And
timeouts.
yeah. And so I think that it's just how you manage those and how you pivot, with those and okay, it's like, okay, well, we'll go the opposite direction if that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And when you're like on your way to Utah, but just kidding, we got to go and take Kelson to the doctor or to the hospital because he's got rotavirus or something.
Yeah.
And just different things that come up or Caitlin getting E. coli,
Oh my God, at
and
all.
in the hospital and just things like that we've just had to pivot with. And
Yeah.
I think it teaches you definitely to have patience and.
Yeah. And when you can, fill your life up with joy.
Exactly.
You just have to do it. So this is funny because one thing that's sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, I like literally want to bang my head against the wall. But it's so funny because like Kelson, our kids kind of come different. And Kelson, like we'll talk about Europe. He's like, I hated that trip. And you're like, wait, what? Like you didn't act like it when you were there. But it's so funny because I think sometimes, again, it goes back to like everybody has different preferences and our kids all have different preferences. We're all kind of taking one for the team and overall it is building memories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's ever going to be time. If I were to sit down and ask each of my kids if I asked each of my kids where they wanted to go today, they probably would all say Hawaii. I think they've all made that pretty clear recently and that will be probably our next trip without Kelson, unfortunately. But when we go on those trips, there's so much bonding that happens. Even if it's not the ideal trip in Kelson's mind, I would say that there was a lot of bonding. It was like sharing a hotel room with grandma. And, there's a lot of memories that are made.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important because from day in to day out, I think what happens is when you get into rhythms in your life, you don't remember. Like there's sometimes like stories that will come up. I'm like, I don't remember that. And it was just an ordinary day and something happened and you remembered it or the kids remembered it. But when you go on trips, like those become ingrained because now not only is it something that happened, but you can remember a place because it's different. Like those memories, they just kind of hit a little differently.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Thanksgiving last year. We're going to Florida and up in off of 30A, Rosemary Beach.
So fun. It's beautiful.
Alley's Beach and up around Destin. And by the way, if you're going to go to that area, don't go around like wintertime. It was freezing cold.
No, we had a couple days it was beautiful on the beach.
Yeah.
And then a couple days it was freezing. But it was so beautiful.
Yeah, it's super pretty up there. The sand is amazing.
The sand is perfect.
But yeah, that was a trip that was memories and
yeah. It's just fun. Like I think that's the other thing too, is we've tried to shake it up a little bit because of some family things and dynamics. We personally have taken our little family and done some really fun trips around the holidays and they become really memorable.
Yeah.
Our kids have really enjoyed it. When our kids were little, one of the memories I have, just taking it back, was I remember the summer times. Summer was always special to me because I finally, like, I could have my kids without like the duress of like routines and morning routines, night routines, homework, all of that. And some of the things that we would love to do as a family, as the kids, especially with you being at work, because at that time, I didn't really work with you as of yet. But we would always find a series. So like one year it was Merlin, like this series, I think it's called Merlin. It's so cheesy, but like it was awesome. And the kids, we would like watch these shows. Oh, like we just watched the whole series. And those are some of the best memories. But I did notice like my kids, there's a difference between watching a movie with your kid and being on your phone and watching a movie or show with your kid and watching it with them, and how important that is and how much different that connection is created when you're actually doing the same thing and you're connecting with the same thing rather than, oh, I'm here with you, I'm present, but not connecting. And I feel like that has made, the more that I have found, I put down my stuff and be in the moment. It's really hard. Phones are hard, but phones really, we may think, oh, everybody's enjoying themselves. But if we're not careful, it does take away from the fun that they're really having.
Yeah, it's true.
Because they're conscious of it. There have been times I'm on my phone and even in a car ride, like up in Utah, I think I was in a car ride and there was a conversation between you and the girls. And I was on my phone And because I wasn't part of that communication and that conversation, it was hurtful to the girls because they're like, Mom, we want you to be part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
They want to relate. So if it's a television show, they want to be able to afterward talk about it and talk about that episode.
Yeah, that's true.
So as far as like having fun and being on these trips, what is some feedback? Because it is easy to hop on a business call. And sometimes we have to. But what is your feedback for that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that's a good one. Really, honestly, phones, and you can go on a vacation, and if the family is on their phones all the time and not engaged, and that
it's a
might,
waste,
that might be a
right?
conversation that needs to be had before you leave, and just, hey guys, let's try this as a family to, not spend so much time with
our
phones and texting friends back
Yeah.
at home. And I mean, teenagers are going to be teenagers, and
Yeah.
they want to keep in touch with their friends and stuff like that. But I mean, that might be a time and a place. Like if it's a downtime and they're in their room or something like that, please do it then. But when you're as a group, please try to be present as, with the group and like engage.
Like play the games with us. Like
exactly.
Watch the movies with us.
Exactly.
Like, be involved.
And so that you're trying to engage the family, because on a vacation, that's a time when everybody's there together. And if you can get them to be present and in the moment and not detached on a device.
And if you think about it, like when you're on your devices, you're typically on something like Instagram or Snapchat. You're engaging now in everybody else's life, but not your own.
Exactly.
And then to take that even further, you might be engaging other people's lives going, oh, their life looks so good. But you're not being intentional in your own life.
Exactly. And you're like living through somebody else's life, and you're on a vacation, and you're like wishing you were on vacation with them or something, but yet you're like,
you won't even embrace what you have.
So then it kind of is a lack of gratitude. And so
it's not healthy.
Exactly.
And it's creating disconnect. I love that. So this is one thing that we talked about. Like if I could look at our family and go, hey, where could I be a little better in connecting? Well, yes, it's the phone, like always making sure that I'm mindful of that. But one thing that I'm really good at this, but I don't know why I don't love it. I'm an incredible game player. Like when I play a game, I'm deadly. Once I get into it and once I figure it out, I'm good. But it's funny because I see these families that are connected, and lots of times I've noticed a commonality. A lot of these families are good at playing games.
Mm-hmm.
They're good at like, hey, we're sitting down and playing card games, or we're sitting down and we're playing, like Uno's kind of our easy one, because we know like when Landry has her friends over and we play with her, like everybody knows it. We don't have to explain the rules. But I've noticed like, there's some families I look at and I'm like, you know what? They've always been good about when they're home, turning the television off and saying, hey, let's play a game.
Well, I think with a game, it's one of those things again where if you can't be on your phone and play a game.
Oh.
You have to be present, and everybody's in the moment, and
you're talking using words. It's also a little different than watching a movie together.
Yeah,
because now you're really engaging.
Well, and you're in the moment, and you're not living in the past, you're not living in the future, so you're not depressed and you're not having anxiety. You're like present, and so, and I think that's why that's so good is it brings everybody together and engages and
I do. I want to do a better job about games. I think we need to find a few more. The problem is a lot of them are packed away. We do have a lot of games that are packed away, but we just need to be better about playing them.
Exactly.
So, but they are fun. I think those are great ways. Before we close, is there any other thing that you can think about that as a family, we've talked about trips, games, finding, like there's all kinds of things to do. Is there anything else you can think of? I mean, maybe the frequency of this, like how often should we be engaging in these things? Right? I think that is a challenge. It's always being mindful of what's the next trip or next couple trips, or, hey, it's really stopping and thinking, have I recently taken the time to play a game with my kids?
Yeah.
Or, hey, have I had fun and taken them out to lunch? It's a weekly thing. There was a time that we were really consistent about meeting as a family on Sundays to plan the week out, and we were planning these events, especially when life gets really busy.
Yeah. I think you have to be intentional and you have to plan it out, or else it won't happen, especially when everybody's got so many different schedules. And so that's probably the best thing that you could do. I mean, really honestly, that might be something that we could work on as far as like getting all of our kids on a phone call on, whenever. And
On Sunday with Caitlin being gone.
yeah, with Caitlin being
We'll have
gone,
to do it Monday with Kelson on his mission.
yeah, when Kelson's on his
Yeah.
mission and we talk to him, we can get that, and that will happen naturally with
Yeah.
him being on his mission. But having him call and get the whole family on a phone call and then just talk about everything and how everything's going and what everybody's doing.
Well, just planning fun things together. It'll be a little more challenging with Kelson being on a mission. And we have talked about how that may be a challenge for us moving forward, having fun, knowing that we may create some FOMO in him.
Yeah.
And being mindful of that, because we also don't want to have so much fun that we're leaving anybody else out. Even with Caitlin, it becomes a little more challenging.
Yeah.
And I think we've had to be careful because she's like, oh, you did that. Or she'll see on Life 360 we're somewhere and you can tell she's sad about it. And we have to let her know, well, we'll be there soon. Or we're going to come have fun with you.
Yeah.
But as a family, like, it's so important that we're always being mindful of everybody and making sure everybody's having fun.
True.
Everybody needs that relief.
Yeah. So. For sure.
All right. I mean, I feel like we covered that pretty well. I like to have fun with you, baby. I do. Like, I mean, I think we have a really good balance of having fun. And I think that, like, at the end of the day or at the end of our life, when our kids are moved on and they have their own families, we'll still be able to engage in them. But it's been really important that we have.
I think with your spouse, you have to be intentional, and I think that our kids know that we're thick as thieves and we spend a ton of time together, and so it's like, we're around each other a lot. And I think that if, once again, you're living in balance.
Yeah.
And I go ride bikes with friends and guys and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, if that's all I'm doing, then you're going to get out of balance and then you're going to have a resentful wife, and
like, so, you got to find that so that
same with, if you're off like constantly with like girls and doing stuff, with your girlfriends, then it's like guys I'd be like, why are you guys
even
so
Kelson,
much?
like Kelson got into a stage where his buddy was getting ready to go on his mission. So they were going to the lake a lot and doing a lake trip. And we started to feel that disconnect from Kelson.
Yeah.
And that sadness. And recently he's been back and he's tamed that down a little bit with Owen leaving and all that on his mission. But now we're able to have some more fun with Kelson.
Yeah.
And so it's okay. There may be seasons, but again, it's like,
exactly.
Family is still
like
first.
It's a season, but we could tell like, wow, this has become excessive, but then we kind of knew, oh, well, this is for a short time.
But how sweet was he? Like, he had a couple friends go on a trip this last week, never even mentioned it to me. Because he's like, hey, I kind of felt like it was pushing it. I needed to be home. Yeah. And I was like, that was so nice to see that Kelson realized I need to be spending time with my family. Yeah. And I was so grateful. I'm like, hey, he's getting it. So it was funny because before this episode, you needed to get a drink. You've been riding this morning. You're tired. You needed a little caffeine. And you went out to the car. And I didn't realize you were out in the car. And so I'm inside, like, making myself a protein shake and cleaning up the kitchen, feeding the dog. And suddenly you come inside, and you open the door, you're like, where are you? Like, what the heck? And I realized, like, you could so easily have gone and gotten the drinks without me. But I realized you were waiting for me because it's fun having me there. Yeah. It's just fun. And I would say, like, that would be truth. Like, even the smallest moments of, hey, let's just go on a car ride together real quick to pick something up. Yeah. We have fun. We talk about fun things. We get good giggles sometimes. Sometimes we talk about serious things, but it's enjoyable. And that's really what family is about, is finding enough fun in your family, again, to create that desire for your kids to want to keep coming back.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyways, well, thank you for talking today. This was a good episode. I hope that more families out there will be more intentional with having fun. That's the goal.